Cool. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you and welcome to Morris Brown's and Historically Black Citizens presents from Hard Reset to Resurgent. I'm excited to be here today as your host again, Archie III. We have some amazing panelists today, and I'm excited to have this conversation with individuals that play a major role in the backbone and the foundation of the university. But before we get into that, for you that may not know, it is May 1st, the start of the month, and it is Mental Health Month. So before we go into all the questions, I'm a big advocate for mental health, and that's the foundation of our company, Brain Love. And I wanted to ask you individually, how are you doing? Like, how are you guys mentally? I know you guys are doing a lot of work within the university around Morris Brown and getting things back up and running and really pushing forward and having a lot of momentum within the university and pushing into the world. But I know how sometimes things can be hard, and maybe sometimes people don't even ask you how you're doing. So I wanted to kind of start right there and ask you individually how you guys doing. We can start with ladies first, and we'll start with Dr. Randolph.
Thank you so much. I'm excited and elated to be a part of this podcast today. And so I'm doing amazing here at Morris Brown College. I would like to just expound on Mental Health Month. Morris Brown College does allow for its employees to have 1 week of mental health break. And so that is very helpful for employees here at the college. Again, I'm doing fantastic and excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go Dr. Meeks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clay, for having me. I am doing exceptionally well. Still brand new to the Morris Brown community, but I love working here. I love the individuals I work with. We're a true family, and so I'm doing good. I'm fairly new to the city of Atlanta, and so life is just really good right now. I'm really enjoying it.
That's good. And Brother Donovan.
Thank you for having me as well. I'm feeling great as we emerge from the hard reset into the resurgence. I'm feeling recharged, energized, ready to go for another year on the first year of the resurgence here at Morris Brown College. So very excited.
Well, thank you guys for the reason why I asked, I think it is very important. I know it's Mental Health Month, and of course, you want to be very, advocate and build the awareness around mental health. But I think it's important, especially as people within you guys' field, right? It's always a lot going on. I'm sure there's a strong strategies in play, a lot of moving pieces and parts to what you guys are doing individually. And I think it's always important to make sure we're asking and making sure we're owning in. You're right. So I'm going to also challenge you guys to also just make sure that you, as you guys as peers, make sure that people that are coming to your office are feeling good, feeling great, not just today, not just this month, but just going forward. I know Dr. Randolph mentioned that that's a part of you guys' ecosystem, and I think that's amazing. And I'll kind of go into a couple other questions I have later on. But I want to start and say just thank you. Thank you for having that energy and having that family dynamic, because I think mental health is something that is very taboo within our communities, right? And it's something that we definitely need to continue to build awareness on and continue to push forward. So with that being said, I do want you guys to introduce you guys yourself and tell the audience what you guys do for Morris Brown. And we'll start again with Dr. Randolph.
Thank you. Again, I'm Dr. Tonice Randolph. I'm the Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs. And pretty much what I do is govern all of academics at the college. So that encompasses the registrar's office, academic support, the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation, our online degree programs, and all things academics.
Awesome. Dr. Meeks.
Thank you again. I'm Dr. Lavertis Meeks. I'm the Assistant Provost and Executive Director of the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation here at Morris Brown College. A big piece of my position is working with the faculty in terms of faculty development and overseeing that particular lift. Also, with being the executive director of the CTLI, I oversee all of academic resources. I have a coordinator that will be working with me, student success coaches, peer tutors, all of those necessary resources for students to be successful. I oversee that, in addition with being the assistant provost and aiding and assisting our provost in academic matters. So it's such a delight.
Amazing. Last but not least, Brother Donovan.
And yes, I'm Donovan McKelvey. I'm the registrar here at Morris Brown College. I've been here since August of 2021. With my role as registrar, I'm the keeper of the records. I'm helping students from their first enrollment all the way to graduation. So that includes registering different classes, advising them on major changes, FERPA, all forms of matters of their academic records. I'm hands-on with.
Awesome. So I got a lot of questions, right? But I think all the interviews we've had, this is number 7, right? And the common denominator is family, right? It's family, it's energy, it's that family dynamic, like we had the reunion, right? I've gotten that from the alumni, from the students, and I'm sure it's going to be from you guys as well. But I do want to kind of understand what drew you to Morris Brown, right? Like what aligns you to the energy and the perspective of what Morris Brown is building again, because we all know that the dynamic, the major, the amazing history of Morris Brown, right, is very, very rich history. But I'm definitely curious on you guys' background and how you got here. So of course we'll start with Dr. Randolph.
Okay, so I have been in higher education for over 15 years. And I started out as an assistant registrar, and I'm now serving for the 3rd time as the chief academic officer. And so I'm a graduate of a historically Black college in Memphis, Tennessee, the Lemoyne College. So
Okay.
HBCU is in my blood and in my veins. In addition to that, my doctoral studies was on the viability of historically Black colleges and universities, and I did a particular case study on one institution in particular. And so, my why am I here at Morris Brown College? Well, we all know the history of Morris Brown College, but what I truly enjoy and I'm thankful for this experience is to be a part of something that was initially counted out at one point. And it's kind of like the history of historically Black colleges altogether. African Americans initially after slavery were counted out after the Civil War, not having education. And so there were individuals who founded these institutions to ensure that we as Black and Brown people are able to be educated and make our mark in history and in what we knew at that time was somewhat of a native land. And so being in this place at Morris Brown College puts me in position to be a part of the hard reset and now the resurgence and bringing this college into greater heights, and just having that experience and being on this train with the president and the administration here. I'm very thankful again for the opportunity, and I'm excited for Morris Brown College in relation to what they have done and what we will do in the future.
Amazing. Dr. Randolph, are you from Memphis?
I am.
What part?
Oh boy. Well, I've lived in several parts, but I was most of my time in Memphis would probably be in the North Memphis area.
Okay, my family from South Memphis, so I was about to say I could tell the swag. You know what I'm saying? I could tell the swag. Dr. Meeks.
Well, Dr. Randolph and I have a similar path. So I started my career in higher education. I am an HBCU graduate myself. I went to the Jackson State University.
Okay,
I'm a 3-time alum.
Okay.
The State University, my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. And so started my career as an English instructor. I was the youngest one on my campus at that time, starting my career in Mississippi at Tougaloo College. And so that was my first real position in higher education as an employee. worked my way up, found myself actually, this is where Dr. Randolph and I sort of intersect, in Memphis, Tennessee. However, she and I never crossed paths before.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that was the interesting part. We knew many of the same people in the higher education circle, but she and I never actually met before I started working here at Morris Brown. Worked in Memphis, Tennessee, taught and ran a few programs at Southwest Tennessee Community College, then later at Christian Brothers University. And some kind of way, I found my way to Atlanta. And funny story is, I think it was supposed to happen this way. I was actually in the pipeline, in the interview process for a position at Georgia Tech. It was going to be an inaugural position. And I was, definitely basically given the green light. Okay, this is what, you're the person we want. And so I was going through that process while at the same time, I had applied before at Morris Brown, and they happened to call me in for an interview at the exact same time. And of course, Georgia Tech, they were going to pay more and this and that. But it was just like when I got the call for Morris Brown, I was so excited because my heart and my love, my blood is at an HBCU. I don't care where it is. It's just it's a part of my DNA.
Right.
So I was like, man, this is going to be tough. And just even with what Morris Brown was paying, was offering to pay me versus what I would be making at Georgia Tech, I was still, in a conundrum. And people, they were like, I don't know why you're in a conundrum. Like, if this institution is going to pay you $25,000 more, that's where you go. But I knew I would not have the creativity, the opportunity to actually contribute how I feel that I'm contributing to Morris Brown. I feel valued. I feel appreciated. And that, has a lot to do with leadership. I think Dr. Randolph is a superb provost. I'm learning so much from her. And she can probably attest one of our first conversations. And I'm not going to go into it, but she remembered what she said, and we bring it up every now and then. And so it's been a really, really great experience under her leadership. We are taking academics to the next level here at Morris Brown, and I knew from the interview I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a pioneer in this, resurgence. We're out of the hard reset. That's over. We are resurging as an institution. We are rising like a phoenix. And so academics, they better watch out. Morris Brown is not about to be a joke any longer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And before I get to you, Donovan, I could just see the energy. And I think that's super, super amazing to see. And I have another question that's going to line back to that. But Brother Donovan, if you don't mind, please go on as well.
Yes, absolutely. Give me 2 hard acts to follow. So, but I'm a little younger in my career than both Dr. Randolph and Dr. Meeks. I started working for my alma mater, Kennesaw State University, in 2019 at their registrar's office. After I graduated from there, I worked in their registrar's office to about July of 2021. No, I worked there till August 2021, but in July of 2021, I was reached out to by Dr. James, president here at Morris Brown College, who have heard about some things I was doing at the registrar's office in Kennesaw State, and wanted to see if I'd be interested in having an interview for the registrar position here at Morris Brown College. At the time, like I said, we were deep in the hard reset era. We were just a candidate for accreditation. We weren't accredited yet. So that was a lot to take in, the knowledge and the history of Morris Brown. I'm at my alma mater, which anybody that knows me knows I love Kennesaw State University to the death of me. So I'm happy at Kennesaw State as well. But talking with Dr. James and meeting people and during the interview process here at Morris Brown College, it felt like the right place for me because, as Dr. Randolph said earlier, the story of being counted out, we've all in life at one point have been counted out. And we needed somebody to pour into us, or we needed somebody to help us establish what we're trying to do to show that don't count me out, I'm here. So I really gravitated towards that story here at Morris Brown College. And I remember starting August 9th, 2021. And it's from the very first day we hit the ground running, doing things. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I feel like everybody has that point here where they're thinking, man, what I got myself into. But it's been nothing but a pleasure, nothing but a joy here at Morris Brown College. And it's one of the best decisions I've made in my life, making that transition to leave Kennesaw State to come to Morris Brown College and to see it pay off from being now we're reaccredited. Now, when I first got here, we had 50, 60 students. Now we're tracking for 500 in the fall. It's an amazing place to be.
That's amazing. Amazing. My next question kind of lines back to I know a lot of times when we talk about business, we talk about other industries, teamwork, and the dynamic behind what you don't see is very, very important. But a lot of times when we talk about education, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about teamwork and what that looks like. And this question is for you, Dr. Donovan. I'm sorry, Dr. Randolph. How important is the dynamic of the team important to creating the foundation for academics at Morris Brown?
Well, it's very, very important, teamwork. It's funny that you asked that question because we're in the interview process for a bunch of positions that we have available in academic affairs. And one of the main things we talk about during the interview process and after we meet with the candidate is fit. And so it's very important here at Morris Brown College, especially as it relates to academics, because academics is the heartbeat of the institution. Without academics, you have no institution. And so it's always best to ensure that you have an environment where those different divisions are not operating in silos, because it's imperative that we operate as a team. And what we do here at Morris Brown, there are no big I's, no little U's. We work together strategically to accomplish our goals and our mission here at the college.
Right. And I think that's amazing. I think that's important, right? That, like I said, we don't, especially as I was grown and seen that they make it Tuskegee University and now really understanding more around the importance of the faculty, right? It's very, very important to have a strong faculty that is able to not only understand the missions and values of the university and the organization, but also be able to push forward those missions and values, right? And Dr. Meeks, this is more important question to you as far as our research side of things is like, how important is it to truly understand, of course, where you want to go, but also how is it important to understand how you want to align to where the world is going, right? When it comes to the industries and how industries are shifting, how innovation is shifting, right? HBCUs need to compete, right? First and foremost, right? In order to compete, we have to compete from an academic standpoint, right? And having the programs in play, having the curriculums in play. Twofold question: how does that look for you guys, and how are you guys moving forward in the future when it comes to staying coherent to that and being able to compete with the PWIs and the other HBCUs out there?
Thank you so much for that question, Archie. The key thing, especially in relation to innovation at HBCUs, sometimes we have to create our own innovative spaces. As you all know, like even with our culture as African Americans, we're oftentimes, borrowed from or stolen. And so we've always managed to do great with little. Right. And so even with academics, of course, I would love, and I'm sure Dr. Randolph would agree, we would love an academic affairs budget of $50 million. Right. But it's not oftentimes a reality. And so what we have to do collectively as a unit, as a department, we have to sit here, we have to brainstorm ideas, we have to bounce things off each other to see what would work. And even doing that, as we look at Morris Brown's, storied past, it's not like, of course we're rebuilding, but Morris Brown had a very firm foundation. They were very innovative in the 80s in terms of engineering, the STEMs. They were very innovative already. And
Right.
so having to just even go back and research, look at archives of, programs that were sustainable. And we're looking at now, how can we, revitalize some of those
Right.
programs? How can we make them viable even now?
Right.
We look at cybersecurity. We're looking at many, many different types of things, and also getting the buy-in as early as middle school. So, even developing those partnerships. One thing I can appreciate about Morris Brown is, and you guys see us in the news, you see our president building partnerships with high schools and middle schools. That's very key because those are the pipeline. That's
Right.
the pipeline. Our students are going to come from those areas. And so it's about even now getting them excited. We're like testing things, testing theories. And so it's important that you have a visionary type of provost. You have to have someone in charge of academics that is open to that is going to inspire free thinking, that's going to inspire, intellect, that's
Right.
to make you want to do more. Even in my day to day, I'll probably sit in Dr. Randolph's office 4 to 5 hours of the day. Not because I want to, not because she wants to look in my handsome face, or I want to look in her beautiful face, but we're actually bouncing ideas. We're coming up with a strategic model that is going to take Morris Brown College into the next 50 years. And I
Right.
think that is so very important. We have to not just create things, but we have to create things that are going to be sustaining, that are going to be sustainable, and
Right.
that are going to be meaningful. And so it's hard to tear something great down.
Right.
And that's what we're constantly trying to do. We're trying to continue to build something great in terms of academics, because as Provost Randolph said earlier, academics drive your institution. I
Right.
think about I grew up in the Jackson State world. My uncle was a professor there. I have so many family members who are alum. I could talk about the band, I could talk about the football team, I could talk
Right.
about these things. But the driving force of every institution of higher learning is academics. And
Right.
if academics is failing some type of way, or if there's a falter in it, your institution will immediately go down. And so we're just scaling academics up here at Morris Brown, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
No, I love it, and I love the thought process behind paying attention to the middle school students and the high school students. Because even for us, when we think about mental health, right, of course we are becoming more aware, right. But I think in order to change the dynamic of this issue, right, you have to focus on the new generation, right. The new generation is pushing forward, right, and if we're able to get in front of that, right, then we'll allow ourselves to change the perspective over time, right? Sometimes it's hard for us as older adults to change our perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if we get in front of it, we'll allow ourselves to kind of be able to change a little bit of it. And hopefully that allows us to plant the seeds and grow and expand.
And to even answer the second part of your question is, how do we stay, abreast of these things? We have to constantly research these things. We have to look into new ways of doing things. We have to always have best practices at the core of it, because we don't want to just do things willy-nilly and then 5 years down the line it falls apart.
Right.
So it's important on the administration, it's important for faculty to stay on top of your craft. I mean, LeBron James, without a doubt, is one of the greatest NBA players in U.S. history. And so, but if LeBron never exercised, if he never, pushed his body to the limit, we don't know what his capabilities would be or could be. And we have to look at it from that standpoint in academics and in just the scholarly world. We have to stay on our craft. We have to go to conferences, whether we want to or not sometimes. We have to build partnerships with other institutions. That's a key thing as well. And so we're really doing everything that should happen in terms of higher education so it can remain viable for the next generation.
No, for sure. And I love the fact that you guys are focused on it. Like I said, the passion is clearly there, right?
Mhm.
Donovan, this question is for you in regards to the registrar. I know that the registrar plays a major role in connecting with the students, staying locked in with the students from the whole dynamic of their career. How important is the relationship with you and the students? And how do you and you, the team, plan to keep evolving that, right? And how do you guys plan to go above and beyond what the norm is for the relationship between the registrar and the students?
That's a lot. The relationship between registrar and students is very important, especially here at Morris Brown College. You know, uh, you almost become another advisor or another chair for them in a sense, and you're helping them throughout their whole academic journey. Where sometimes a concern may not get to their department chair, may not get to the provost's office, but they're coming to the registrar's office with their concern immediately. Whether that's an academic concern or admissions concern, registrar is a job that touches all departments of a college. So you just have to be mindful of that, and also building that relationship and learning from the students as the students should learn from you. Meaning, their experience is super valuable because they're attending the school, they're in the classes where I'm not in the classes. They're dealing with things in the application process, financial aid process, or just regular, or just their life in general, where that can help me become a better registrar for them, understanding their concerns, understanding what the student need is. In all offices, we need to have a direct communication, direct line to the students to really understand the student need to push things forward. So yes, my main focus is to push them. Every student that comes to my office, I always tell them my role is to get you to graduation. My role is to get you to graduation. Whatever you need from me, from very first enrollment to graduation, I'm trying to get you there. So anything that I can assist them with, I'm always trying to be innovative and listen and be creative on how can I assist them, because there's not one way. There's never one way to deal with students. Students come in with different situations, different outlooks on different things that they need. So it's always important to build that one-on-one experience with the student and build off that to help them reach their academic goals.
No, I think there's makes perfect sense, right? I think the connection and the relationship is to all you guys is very, very important, right? My next question is, I laugh because I know the dynamic of what this looks like across all HBCUs, and I know there isn't anybody representing, of course, financial aid, right? But I'm sure that you guys work hand in hand with them, right? What does it mean to enhance the customer service around from the whole holistic thought process of Morris Brown when it comes to just every avenue from financial aid to the registrar to the academics? We know in the past and the present where sometimes that there can be a disconnect from the students and financial aid and the registrar and things of that nature, right? How does Morris Brown plan to change that dynamic, right? Because we know that customer service is customer service, and it's very, very important to have that across all boards of the spectrum when it comes to HBCUs, right? And I know Morris Brown is very family oriented, and I know from even just having this conversation, you guys truly care about the students, and all HBCUs care about the students, right? But there's sometimes a disconnect, right? So I want to ask this question to you, Dr. Randolph. Like, how important is it to truly have a clear strategy on how to handle different issues that will come you guys' way as you guys scale and as you grow from 500 students to 50,000 students?
Well, that is a great topic to discuss. And just so you know, within my dissertation, one of the findings was customer service. And so again, we know that HBCUs have this family-like feel, and we love everyone as a big family reunion. We pride ourselves on that. We brand ourselves as it relates to that. But there are some areas of opportunity as it relates to customer service. And a lot of time, it's not because there are rude or mean people in place. It's all about resources, not being fully staffed, not having the financial resources to assist students. And so what we do here at Morris Brown is we make sure that perception is at the forefront of what it is that we do daily, because we want people to perceive us as an institution that works together and works in conjunction to support each student here.
Amazing. Love that. I love it. Dr. Bees, did you want to add to that?
Oh, I definitely will agree with Dr. Randolph. The HBCU space is very, very unique. I love the fact that I don't care what institution you go to, when you arrive on that campus, you have a sense of belonging, you have a sense of home. One day, I was just, driving around the AUC, and I ended up over by Clark. And it was just such a feeling because I am an HBCU graduate, and I was like, wow, so is this what this feeling is supposed to be like, And so just to piggyback on what Dr. Randolph was saying, the customer service aspects of it, the nurturing aspect of it, that's very important. We certainly don't want to be that kind of machine that's abrasive to students, but we want to be welcoming to students. We don't want to build barriers. And as you all know, like just in regular life, if we get irritated in the slightest at a restaurant, we'll never go back.
Exactly.
We'll never go back.
Exactly.
So we definitely have to be mindful and be very intentional. Sometimes we'll know something, but we don't practice intent on changing those things. And so that's what I love about our current team here at Morris Brown. I often, will tell people if they see me, hey, where do you work? I work at Morris Brown. And then, of course, they'll pull what they know or what they have perceived about Morris Brown. And then I have to correct them. No, that's what once was, but this is what it is today. And this is the leadership today. And these are the initiatives we're going for today.
Exactly.
So that's very important. And I think it just continues to make HBCUs viable, because as we know, they are, especially for not just our culture, but for the world. We have contributed so much to society, to culture as we know it. That came about on the backs of HBCU graduates, HBCU students, sons and daughters of former slaves. So it would be an injustice, if we just, threw our hands up at it and said we're moving on from this. We have to keep the core of what an HBCU is alive and well. And I think that's what we're champions for.
1000%. And Donovan, I want to throw this to you as well, because I think that you probably are closer to the ground, right? And most of the registers are closer to the ground, to the students or any type of potential complaints, because they can't register for classes if they ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I'm definitely curious to hear your perspective on this, because I think you will probably get it before they get it. If it does happen in the future, which maybe it doesn't, but any register, right? They probably normally get it before it even gets up the chain. So curious to hear your perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. James is always speaking about customer service with a smile. And with this being my first HBCU experience as a work as employee or a student, I came from PWI, so customer service at PWI and customer service at HBCU is completely different. Just in my experience. With PWI is if it's 9 to 5, it shuts off. HBCU, especially Morris Brown College, we're 24/7.
Best way sometimes, you know what I'm saying? The best way sometimes. Hey, my classes didn't get through. Can you help me?
Again, calls right when the assignment closes down at 11:30, and it's like something's wrong with this. I can't submit my assignment. And I'm like, man, like I never could imagine this, but that's what it's all about. Customer service with a smile. You have to pour into students. In this instance of a institution of higher learning, the customer is the student, and the customer is always right. So you're trying to make it the best that you can for the student. And it's on all of us to reach out and go out of our way to make sure that within protocol that the student is taken care of.
Right.
So that's what we all aim to do here, and I believe that's why we're seeing so much success here at Morris Brown College, because everybody is focused on customer service with a smile here. There's not one person who does not want to see the student benefit, and
Right.
that's something that I've never seen as a student or as an employee in higher education. Like, this is a different experience, customer service wise, that we're providing here at Morris Brown.
Right. And I think the customer service with a smile, I think that's very important, right? Because at the end of the day, it's yes, it is academics, it is education, but let's be very transparent, it is a business, right? There's certain things that need to happen in order for Morris Brown to chop at the blocks, right? To hit those milestones, to get to the next level, right? And I think that to have a business perspective, right, on how to create that experience, right, and the best companies that do very well create the best experience, right? You think about Chick-fil-A, like Chick-fil-A has the best experience, right? So the experience is a little better than a McDonald's or a Burger King, right? And the people love to come back, right? So the perspective is it shouldn't be different, right, from going to HBCU, right? If we want to compete, we compete from a holistic standpoint, right? We want to give the best experience across the whole board, right? So yes, I definitely appreciate you guys, answer these questions and giving the feedback and information. I think it's very, very needed. I do have one last question around this recent thing that we saw that you guys have done, where you have given admission to Mays High School. I'm just kind of curious to what was the thought process behind that? If you guys have any insight about, I think it's amazing, right? If that's something that can be going forward, or that is something that was something that you guys felt it was the right time, right? So I definitely curious to what was the strategy behind that thought process.
Am I going first?
Maybe it's not Randolph. My apologies.
Well, that's fine. But one of the things that I could think of in relation to a strategy with recruitment is letting or telling those students that may come from certain demographics and in certain neighborhoods that are socially not as socially awkward, or maybe in a environment that is not forward thinking as it relates to higher education. And so I think having that presence of letting students know or telling them the story of historically Black colleges and giving them the information that they can go to college. You would be surprised how many households have prospective students that come in and they don't really realize that they can go to college, because when you think of college, you think of dollars. You think, I can't afford it. And so students may not know what resources that are out there and available for them. And also, I think seeing successful individuals that are Black and brown, like ourselves, that are presidents, that are provosts, vice presidents, special assistants to the president, just seeing those individuals in front of them, explaining to them that they could have a career once they attend college. So I think that's somewhat of a strategy, reaching that population of students.
No, and I think it makes perfect sense, because if you interview HBCUs in the past, HBCU students in the past, and how they got to HBCU, sometimes it's, I barely got in. I just hit that requirement. You know what I mean? So it gives a little hope, right? That, because a lot of times, I had an okay GPA, but I had a couple of line brothers that just barely made it, but then became very successful, right? So it gives people hope to be able to see the future and see actual success, right? So I think whatever way y'all thought about it, I think it was amazing. I thought it was super dope, and I think that that's something that more HBCUs, not even HBCUs, more colleges should do, right? Giving people opportunity, especially within inner cities and people that don't have the resources, and like you said, the money, right? Because at the end of the day, without the money, that's where education doesn't get pushed to students, and that's how we continue to stay. Some people continue to stay in poverty because they don't have the opportunity to get out of poverty, right? So I just want to say that thank you so much for you guys' time. This conversation has been beautiful. I think that you guys are doing amazing things for Morris Brown. And I know you guys, you always say this is the resurgence and you guys are always pushing and ticking, but Morris Brown never went away. I think Morris Brown just had a hiccup, right? And it's clear that it never went away because the energy is still there, right? Even when you guys have a new hiring recruits and new people coming in through the door, right? You can see that the energy is still there from that legacy, right? So it's beautiful to see that it's just an ongoing thing that's happening for you guys, and there's going to be nothing but success, not only for you guys but for Morris Brown. But before we go, I do want you guys to give any advice to any students that are considering Morris Brown. Please give them a little a nugget of advice as we end this podcast today.
I got one for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Homecoming is lit.
Yes. I heard. I'll be there this year. I'm about to pull up. Tuskegee will be in full effect, you know?
And I want to say this. It's nothing like attending college in the AUC. I sort of kind of regret that I missed it. It was an HBCU experience, but it wasn't the AUC experience. So it is something very unique and only happens in the city of Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
So come on to Atlanta. Morris Brown is ready to have you.
Right. Donovan?
We're the haven for all hungry souls for a reason. If you want to be fed academically, you want to have a lit homecoming experience in the AUC, come to Morris Brown College. You're going to enjoy it.
Well, to all the viewers out there, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this amazing conversation. Like I said, this is Archie III, the host of Historically Black Sense, and Morris Brown presents from Hard Reset from the Resurgence. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Thank you, guys.